Michael Vick here at BetUS.com. Get it all. Huge bonuses, great odds, a race book, live in-game betting, and a casino. BetUS, my online sports book and casino.
This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And I have a glare in my glasses, so I'm going to go ahead and take those off. Thought I can get through it with glasses on, but but thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. I really do appreciate that. Much love to you. Shouts out to everybody in the chat right now. Shouts out to everybody listening, no matter where you are, whether you're at work, you're at home, on the go, whatever. Really do appreciate your time. And I hope you enjoyed your Labor Day. We did have a show on Labor Day, talking a little bit about the black and gold. Shouts out to everybody that checked that out. We also had an episode of Bleacher Report that's out right now, giving my predictions about the 2024 season. So you can go ahead and check that out on Bleacher Report. Also want to let you know that this evening, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll be a part of the NFC South Roundtable. So if you're not doing anything, I'm going to go ahead and put that link in the comments and also in the description at the end of the show for those that want to check it out. It kicks off. It's me alongside Smitty, my guy John, and we're talking NFL. The NFC South. So make sure that you go ahead and check that out. Once again, the NFC South Roundtable. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the comments right now. So you can go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're growing slowly but surely, but I really need you all support. You know, I noticed that they haven't really had that much Saints presence there. There was quite a few people that came over, checked out the episode, but I'm just asking for more support. Like we're talking NFC South. I represent the New Orleans Saints, and they represent the other respected teams in the division. So make sure that you hit that link, check it out. Let me know what you think about it. All right, it's a fun show to do. We got nothing but love and respect for those guys. They work extremely hard to give us the information that we need. As far as what their team is concerned. So, and I try to do the same thing and keep it entertaining all at the same time. And also, I'm extremely excited, man, because anybody that knows me know I started this podcast in 2018. I wasn't behind the microphone. I wasn't in front of a camera. Didn't have those type of resources. Your boy was broke. I'm just being honest with you. And over 1,500 episodes later, and about 6 or 7 seasons later, we get opportunities, and I just feel like, we are being respected for our content and the ability to be able to talk New Orleans Saints. And this is one of those little victory laps that we all can take together. Coming up this weekend, week 1, pregame and postgame show, we will be at the Little Easy, home of the Press Po Boys, 634 Julia Street in New Orleans, for the very first pregame and postgame show at a location down in New Orleans. So if you're not doing anything, come on over to the Little Easy restaurant, man. Get yourself something to eat, something to drink before the game. And, after the game, come on back and we're going to talk a little bit about the game. I would love to see some of the people that make this show what it is, the people that support it throughout the years. I just want to say thank you, for those that are going to come out, for those that can't. I really do appreciate it, man. And is extremely humbling right now, like extremely humbling that we've gotten to a point where people recognize us and respect us enough to allow us to use their establishment to do the episode. So I know I couldn't have done that without each and every one of you believing in me. And I say it all the time. I'm just a guy from the Ninth Ward that was just passionate about my football team. And we turned this into something extremely special. So thank you all for that. Shouts out to everybody in the chat right now. Let me go ahead and get some names out. Shouts out to Pat. Shouts out to Trev. Shouts out to Cartel, who always extremely supportive in any venture that I do. Thank you, Cartel. Brian, Kean Arthur as well, man. Dana, Linda, thank you all so much. Dana, Dorwin, Bookie, Cameron, thank you, man. Cameron been really active, a few episodes now, man. Shouts out to you, brother. One Smoke, Edward, and let's see. I want to make sure I ain't missing anybody. Of course, the OG is in the building, Jared G. I get credit for that. I know I was the first person that called him the OG of the state of the Saints. I get credit for that. Addison and Ray. Shouts out to Ray, man. Ray, man, that's two lives in a row, man. Was it 2 out of 3 lives you done been here, man? So shouts out to Ray. But yeah, man, look, you ain't gonna really hear that much from me in this episode, man. The episode is dedicated to you all because, I've been on social media. I've been kind of, talking and reading the pulse of the Who Dat Nation, and morale is kind of low, man. Morale is kind of low. Nobody is really believing in this football team. Everybody's kind of buying into what the national media is saying about this team. And, everybody has their different reasons, man. Shouts out to my guy, No Cap. He has his feelings about the New Orleans Saints. Shouts out to so many others, that I interact with online. They have their feelings about this team. And, I just want to know, like, what do you think about the 2024 Saints? Are you going into this season believing that this team is just going to fall flat on its face? Do you believe that this team is going to be better than people are saying? What's your thought pattern? Because, to me, it's just hard for me. And I'm not trying to be, a person that's just super optimistic and all that kind of stuff there, man. Y'all know me, man. I'm extremely honest. And for those that just rolled up on it and just think that I got a dog in a fight or I got some type of incentive, look, man, I guarantee you some of the takes that I've had, it would be a shock if I ever step foot on airline, right? For real, for anything that covers the New Orleans Saints, because, I'm brutally honest about the team. My thing is, it's hard for me to accept. It is hard for me to look at and evaluate a team that I have not seen play. Like, I can understand if we're having these conversations after a few games, but all of this stuff is just speculative at this point. So how can we just get upset and say that this team is going to fail when you have not seen this team? And I'm just wondering why. Like, is it because you want this team to fail? Because you don't like Dennis Allen and you don't like Derek Carr as the quarterback? Do you feel honestly that no matter what they have done as far as some of these improvements that they have made, bringing in a new offensive staff, changing over the defensive staff last year, bringing in a guy that can actually get it like Chase Young, he can possibly be the future of this defense. Like, what is it? Or, is it something else? And like I said, I'm going to open up the phone lines because I don't want to talk that long. I've been talking about 10 minutes. Most of it was just church announcements. But I want to hear from you. And I want to hear about how you feel about this team, the pulse of the Who Dat Nation. That's what this episode is dedicated to. Not too much going on. Of course, we know that it's leading up to game week. We had a few sound bites. I encourage everybody to check out the last episode that we did on Monday, talking a little bit about what was going on. They had an injury to Willie Gay, but nobody knows the severity of that right now. The first injury report is supposed to come out on tomorrow. I'm pretty sure that the guys are going to be off today. Normally, that's just how it works. I don't know if they probably getting a little work in. But, I mean, we all know that, everything is, leading up to the game this Sunday versus the Carolina Panthers. And as news comes out, then we'll make sure that we give it to you. But right now, I just want to dedicate this show to the listeners. And shouts out to everybody here. And for those that ain't here, can't check out the show live, got to check it out later. Shouts out to the After Show boys. Shouts out.
To them after show boys, shots out, shots out, shots out, shots out, shots out. To them after show boys, they be tweet and be posting, they be tweet and be posting, they be tweet. Yeah, them after show boys, they be tweet and be posting, they be tweet and be posting, they be tweet. Yeah, them after show boys.
That's out to all the after show boys, after show girls out there. We got our first caller. We got Kean Arthur. Kean Arthur, how you doing, man?
Well, no, what's in, homie?
Man, what's going on, man? Nice to speak with you, man.
Yeah, it's been a while, teacher.
Yeah, I know, man. But you've been watching, man, and I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it a lot.
You know, bro. If anybody support you, I support you, dog.
Yeah, man. Thank you for that. But we talking about getting Saints fans back on the bandwagon here. What is your thoughts on this whole situation? Like, what do you feel about the Saints fans' morale, and what do you think it takes in order to build this thing back up?
I'm gonna be honest with you, TJ. If we being real, if you constantly giving people something to frown about, bro, how could you expect them to then turn around and be like, oh, we made a couple of tweaks. We brought in this person, we brought in that person, but we're not really changing the software. We're just changing the hardware. So I'm expecting a better product. Right. I get that. I can understand why the Who That Nation is like, man, I really got a wait and see approach. I woke up this morning, dog, and saw somebody made a post about the Saints that said, one more week until the New Orleans Saints decide how bad my blood pressure finna be this year. and that's low key. It's funny, but it's frustrating, bro, because you know where we came from, bro. You know how bad it used to be.
Right.
You know how bad it used to be. Real blood pressure problems, you heard me?
Yeah.
So for me, I honestly think this team gonna be better than what people think they're gonna be. Maybe not 11, 12 wins, but more than likely 10. I can see that.
Right.
Because we was 9-8 with a makeshift offense, a good defense, and a leader who basically couldn't find his way through the dark. It seems to be better in that department.
Yep.
So to say the team just gonna regress heavily, 5 wins, 6 wins, we serious? So I guess 9-8 didn't mean nothing, and that's 9-8 with games that we should have won easily, like the Green Bay game. That'd have been 10 wins right there.
Right.
The Houston game, that's 11 wins. You know, and I don't understand how people can. It's like people looking at your credit report, seeing that you delinquent, and then you know what? I'm not gonna consider none of that when it comes to how you move going forward. It just don't make sense for me.
Yeah, look, it to me, I can understand the skepticism of the team. You know, I mean, I do. Like, you know, the fact is, people aren't believing in Dennis Allen, but I think that it comes down to people not believing in Dennis Allen because a lot of these Saints fans out here, and I'm not trying to criticize anybody. A lot of them don't really know about certain hardships. Like, all they know for the most part is Sean Payton and Drew Brees. They don't know about the times that when the Saints were like bad and they weren't winning football games, and you know for a fact they weren't going to win football games. So to them, 9-8 is like, oh man, it's just god awful. But to me, I'm like, I can think of like worse. Like you could be as bad. You can be the Patriots. You could be what the Commanders were to get Jaden Daniels. You could be the Panthers. And you know, this team still tries to find ways to win, and they are in football games. So I don't know, man. You know, I understand how people feel, but it just seems to me like everybody just don't believe in Dennis Allen because he doesn't have that personality like Sean Payton, which they have grown accustomed to. It's almost like, I don't know, it's like having a father or something like that, and you know, you're really close to your father and his ways and all that kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, your parents get divorced or something tragically happens, and then the new guy comes in and he's not your dad. Right? He doesn't sound like your dad. He doesn't act like your dad. His personality doesn't resemble that. So it's like, man, this dude ain't the part. But I mean, to me, he did all the right things, you know, in order for him to try to make this team improve. And if it doesn't work out, it just doesn't work out. But I think everybody should have a wait and see approach, in my opinion.
I can agree with that. Because I told you a few months back, bro, I said, that's really where I'm at. I got a wait and see approach. You heard me? I'm like, okay, I see what you're trying to do. I'm not gonna lie. Let me tell you a big thing for me. A bright spot is when DA started going in the media, holding players accountable, like Kendra Miller and stuff like that. Like, bruh, I think you got talent, but I don't know if you know the offense or nothing like that because you can't stay available.
Right.
To me, that was a bit of an attitude change. Like, bruh, what a dog at? Where's the aggression? Like, bruh, let me see that you not scared to go up in that locker room and tell them players how it is just because you respect the player that it is or that you're showing favoritism to another player.
Right.
The Who That Nation want to see that instead of you coming out here cowtailing and showing your belly when it come to Derek Carr.
Right.
We don't want to hear that, bro.
I agree.
I'm gonna say this last thing, TJ. I'm gonna let you go. I think it was Greg Popovich. Tim Duncan they was all in practice or whatever, and Tim Duncan made a very slight mistake. It wasn't even nothing crazy, but Popovich came out there and I mean he destroyed him in terms of being critical of me, like in front of the team. But after the fact, he told him, he said, the only reason I did that, it was to get the other Cubs in line. It wasn't about you. It was about me letting them know that, man, even if Tim could get called out like that, bro, I better be on my game. Like the star.
Right.
And that's what you need to see instead of you coming out to the podium apologizing to your rivals. We don't want to hear that, bro. We don't want to hear you trying to downplay your backup quarterbacks just to appease the ego of your starter. We don't want to hear that.
Right. Yeah.
But that's just me, bro. I just got to wait and see approach, big dog.
Yeah. I mean, I think, a lot of people have a wait and see approach, and you have some people like, I believe that's Pammy in the chat saying like she don't have any expectations. I don't have any expectations for the team, but I just can't fall into that category where I just feel like everything's just going to fail and crumble just because I hear a bunch of talking heads talking about it. Like, I just can't get down with that. I just think that, you play to win the games. That's what Herm Epps said. That was a saying, but that's actually true. Like nobody knows what this season is going to look like. Everybody think that some of these teams that were at the top are going to remain at the top, but we know injuries happen. You have the battle of attrition, teams lose. So I'm just looking at it like I have a wait and see approach, but I'm not just going to can like just count them out like some people are doing. You got anything else, Kean Arthur?
I said this on the most dangerous team is always a team that's overlooked.
Right.
And there's a reason for that. A matter of fact, the teams that are formidable, they may not be the most talented, but teams that are in every game, those are the teams that are most dangerous because you end up overlooking them.
Right.
And they actually have the talent to beat you. But
Right.
you looking at the small stuff, it's a small market, they don't have this, they don't have that. And you go into that game and now you're looking like FSU against Boston College. Hey, they caught a straight, TJ, my bad.
Nah, man, it was horrible, man. I don't know, man. Somebody got to check on what his name is, Lugale, whoever I can't pronounce his last name, but man, that pass that he missed in the back of the end zone with his receiver wide open, man, Paxton could have threw that. Like seriously, Paxton could have threw that touchdown. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if Johnny Cantone was in the audience or something like that, and he was in a bad spot or something. Maybe he was supposed to throw a game, but that was bad, man. That was awful. But Kean Arthur, man, thank you so much for calling in, chiming in, man. I really do appreciate it, bro.
Hey, appreciate you, homie. Who that?
Who that? Yeah, I don't know what the heck was going on last night, man. That your boy DJ. That wasn't it, bro. I mean, it just make you wonder, man. Did the dude have money on the game? Did he bet against his own team? Did he go Charlie Hustle, Pete Rose off in this thing? I don't know. That was some bad football, man. And his bad quarterback play got these guys on too right now. And the coach possibly looking for another job at the end of the season. We're gonna go to No Cap. No Cap, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing, TJ?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, man. Thank you for chiming in. What you got for us, man?
Man, I just want to go ahead on and give you your flowers, TJ, bro. You've been doing very hard work, man, up there like with Ross Jackson type of hard work, bro. And, I know it's kind of hard to balance with work and, life and, being a father and all that. So, man, I just want to congratulate you on, man, just doing all the hard work you're putting in with the Saints podcast and all the other endeavors you're doing.
Yeah, and I also want to give you your flowers too, man, because, what you're doing right now on your channel, I mean, it just shows that you have a fearless spirit. And, I'm glad that you called in because I want to let you know this. Keep on doing what you're doing, man.
Dennis Allen.
People going to hear, like, man, keep on reaching out to them people, man. Keep on, like, getting those individuals on your podcast. You might hear a no every now and then, bro, but, you know what I'm saying, for every no, they're going to have a yes, man. So just keep that positive spirit. Keep that fearless energy, and I guarantee you, man, you're going to get the results that you want. So I just wanted to let you know that, man.
All right, man. I ain't going to try to be too long. You said a fearless spirit, and, that's kind of where I'm kind of like getting from you, TJ, like back in, like when we was really seeing all this stuff unfold, you was really on that, man. Dennis Allen is not the right guy. He's not the right guy. But I think that, you've been going up back and forth with a lot of Falcons fans, and I think that those Falcons fans are kind of making you see like through the team through a different lens. Like I don't believe that a lot of people in the Who Dat Nation just think we're gonna be trash and terrible. The Falcons fans, of course, they're gonna troll. The national media, they were saying we was gonna be terrible when we had Drew and Sean, and we was just coming off a 13-win season, and then the next year they'll be like, oh yeah, they're gonna fall down and come down back to reality and all that. But we always prove them wrong.
Right.
And I think by you just arguing with them Falcons fans so much, you probably like thinking like, man, I got to defend my team. And on top of that, the fearless spirit, like at that time, you was just keeping it real with the team. And I think a lot of the Saints fan was calling you out saying, man, you're being negative. But you were just speaking your truth. You were just seeing it how you was calling it how you seen it at the time. So now it's like, I feel like, okay, well, you at first you were saying this, and now you're saying, oh man, this team was 9-8. And you're talking about how we used to be even worse than what we are now. So it's like, well, we used to be we couldn't fathom being 9-8. So It's like, be grateful with the 9-8. But me, I'm just not trying to settle for mediocrity, man. Like I just can't do it, TJ. Like, man, I just really believe with my honest heart that Dennis Allen and Derek Carr is not the right guy, and I feel like if they could prove me wrong, fine, so be it, and we'll just go from there. The same way with the optimistics fan. Okay, well, if they prove me wrong, fine, so be it. We'll go from there. But they call me a fake fan or being negative when I just call it like how I see it, man.
Well, here's the thing, though, Cap. It's not the fact that I'm arguing going back and forth with Falcon fans is the reason why I'm changing the way that I am. I just want you to understand, and let me put this into like a big, huge scope for people to understand where I'm coming from. Mickey Loomis is the vice president and general manager of this team. So it's not like how you look at some of these other general managers that you have out here, like their job is riding on the fact that you get the right coach and the right quarterback and the right players, all these type of things. This guy has the power to drag his feet as long as possible. Like, this is like some Jerry Jones type stuff. So when I think about situations like that, it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I just automatically just support Dennis Allen. It's the fact is, I know Mickey Loomis, and Mickey Loomis is stubborn. He's stubborn. He has an ego. And right now, he wants to prove to the masses that he can actually get the job done post Sean Payton. And the first hire that he has was the guy that was recommended by Sean Payton to him. And he's going to ride this dude. Like, seriously, he is going to ride this dude until he actually gets everything he possibly can out of him. He's not listening to the Saints fans. He's not listening to the Pulse or the Who Dat Nation or whatever. So I have to take that into consideration. I'm also taking into consideration is the fact that everybody is basically saying that this team is just going to fall by the wayside. And my thing is, I really stand by this. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I don't have like a dog in a fight. Nobody is like, I'm not trying to appease anybody. What I'm saying is, I look at the issues that plague these teams in the NFC South and how they corrected those issues. And the Saints did the same exact thing. So how is it that those teams will take a step forward and the Saints going to take a step back when they corrected the mistakes that they had? I just can't do it. And I already said it. If this is a team that fails, no cap, if we talking and having this same conversation week 6, week 7, my thoughts and my feelings and my opinions Like, I don't have to hide. Like, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right about it, I'm right about it, man. That's the way I roll. But it's hard for me to just sit up here knowing that this dude, Mickey Loomis, is going to do everything he can within his power to keep this dude around as long as possible. Because he does not look at this dude as the problem. He doesn't. So I know this, like, we basically just getting ourselves worked up and upset and, you know, and beating this drum about we want this dude gone, and they not paying no attention to what we talking about. So if this is the case, then we just getting ourselves worked up about something that we can't even control. So I can focus on the things that we can control. The fact is, this dude gonna be here. The fact is, the Saints went 9-8. It wasn't as terrible. Like, I look at this team like, yeah, are they the best team in the league? Absolutely not. But I don't see these boys getting steamrolled. I don't see these dudes out here just quitting on the team. Like, that game in Detroit, I thought they quit on the team. But when they start to rally back, I'm like, what can you do? So Mickey Loomis, like, man, this dude is standing on business. I want y'all to understand this, no cap. It don't matter. Like, look, I respect what you're saying, and I know this is your genuine feeling, and I know this, you know what I'm saying, you keep it 100. But I'm telling you right now, you can have a bunch of Saints fans show up to the facility on airline, like with pitchforks and torches, and saying that we want this dude up out of here, and Mickey Loomis is going to close his blinds and act as if nothing is really going on. Until Mickey Loomis makes up in his mind that Dennis Allen isn't the guy, we're going to continue to see him out there. And in a losing season, I just want to let people know, I don't feel like it's a deal breaker. Like, if this dude go 8-9, they might run this thing back again.
What's the record that you feel like it might be a deal breaker?
A record that'll be a deal breaker, like, it would have to be like 6-11. It would have to be like, you know, like, it'll have to be like 5-12. Like, it'll have to be bad, bro. Like, it'll have to be like,
so 10 losses, he's safe.
10 losses at 7-10 depends on the situation.
Because I know that back end of the schedule is real light. So I think, like, this was
he loves this dude, bro. Like, for real. Like, I'm just being 100. He loves this dude. Like, he feels like this dude is the right guy for the job. I'm just saying. And Mickey Loomis, man, look, I mean, just look at everything that has transpired with Mickey Loomis. Everything. Like, this dude is going to ride this dude because he feels like firing coaches and making this thing like a revolving door is I guess it like resembles a dysfunctional organization. Now, we can say what you're doing right now is dysfunctional because we as fans are trying to, like, you know, we about to be out of here. But I'm telling you, man, this dude has a certain level of power that you don't have as a regular general manager. So he doesn't have to, like, listen to the fan base. He doesn't have to listen to us. He can drag his feet as long as he wants to and find moral victories in everything that Dennis Allen does, even if they don't reach the playoffs. And he can continue to do that as long as he wants to. Dennis Lauscher is not going to do anything about it. And Gail Benson, for the most part, ain't going to do anything about it. So, I mean, he was left in the will of our former owner and Tom Benson. So, to me, unless, like, you know, somebody from high up like Dennis Lauscher and Gail Benson say enough is enough, or, you know, Mickey, you done lost your fastball, this dude going to continue to do what he wants to do, man. I mean, look at this team right now. Yeah, I mean, I don't see this dude going anywhere. Like, it would have to take, like, this team, like, just completely, like, just getting steamrolled. I'm talking about, like, a Brandon Staley against the Raiders when the Raiders had 42 points in the first half type thing for this dude to get fired. Like, seriously.
They started listening to that Lions game where Saints fans were selling their tickets, and I'm starting to see the writings on the wall already. I'm already seeing the built-in excuses. I read some article where Dennis Allen was already kind of setting it up to, well, we was behind the 8 ball anyway. Look at my O-line. How you expect us to do all this in 1 year and all this and all that? Like, I already see the writing on the wall right now. And then they're going to come down to that end of the season schedule. They're going to, quote-unquote, finish strong for Dennis Allen, knowing that they're not playing for Dennis Allen. They playing for themselves. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what no media say. I don't care what no veteran Saints players say. I know in their hearts that they probably feel like that ain't the right guy. Maybe a few do, but not the majority. And they did a tally-up poll about that in every locker room, and Dennis Allen ranked last. The players themselves in the locker room. This is facts.
And look, and honestly, no cap, look how he spent it. You remember that game you just talked about, the Detroit Lions. He went on WWL radio. I wish I had the soundbite. He went on WWL radio what do you think he blamed? He blamed the economy for the ticket sales. He didn't say, oh, man, the Saints fans aren't interested in the game. He blamed the economy, right? So, I mean, that's the type of stuff that we're talking about right here. So, I mean, for like,
Gail Bisson came to that game to feel the pulse of the team too.
I'm telling you, man, like this dude has complete power over this team. Like he ain't got to move like a regular GM. And as long like, man, look what Jerry Jones has done with the Cowboys all these years. Seriously, like when you have that type of power, man, you can do whatever the heck you want. So we will have to hope that this dude just basically just kind of sees the light and just says, okay, man, enough is enough. We're going to have to go in a different direction. But I really think that he likes this dude. And I really feel like he thinks that Dennis Allen is the right person for the job. And until his mind gets changed, it's going to be the same way, bro. So I'm just saying, like, when I see certain things, I adjust accordingly based on games, based on situations. This dude going to stay around. Like, it will have to take something catastrophic in order for him to change. So I will find myself being completely upset every single episode, every single after every single game. Like, and I mean, that kind of stuff, like, you know, we want to be emotional about it, but at the end of the day, my guy, it's like, man, you know, it's not going to change. It's
made me detach. They made me detached. That Vikings game, I was hurt, TD. You talking to a rogue fan right now. I used to be optimistic. I used to listen to Matt Moscona and say he's being negative about the team. I was putting Derek Carr in that stratosphere of Matthew Stafford and saying if Stafford did that with the Lions, Derek Carr could do that. They hurt me, bro. They really hurt me. I spent money when I had a lot of other issues going on financially to go see my team when I went to that Texans game, and they hurt me. And say, bro, look, at the end of the day, I feel like this season, if they start winning and proving me wrong, fine. But if they start losing, I'm not going to be upset. I look at that as a win. I'd rather get rid of this dude after this year and have hope for the next 4 years than go a mediocre season, have him get extended, and then for the next 5 years be miserable, because I know in my heart this dude don't have what it takes to win the Super Bowl. I don't want to hold nobody else up. I'm gonna let everybody else get their balls off in your stream, TJ.
Man, well, no cap, I appreciate it, man. And look, as far as with them Falcon fans, man, look, I can't let them have nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to let them have nothing.
Go ahead go do your thing, but just know, everybody in the Who Dat fan base don't think we're gonna be terrible. We all say the same word, purgatory, which means mid. We're a middle of the pack teams. Most of us have us from 7 to 9 wins, which is capable of winning division, because I don't think the Falcons are contenders either, but I do think they're a improved team, which is good enough to win the division. But nobody in the division is a contender, which means we have a weak division. So it's up for grabs. It's a 3-way race, and we talking about we the underdogs and all that. How you think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan base feel? So it's a lot that go into it. But for the most part, we all feel like it's a 7 to 9 win team. Some people out there got us with 12 wins. That's delusional in my opinion. Man. But I'm gonna go ahead and let somebody else get the balls off, TJ.
Well, no cap, man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the dialogue there, man. And call back anytime, man. And keep on doing what you're doing, man.
In the words of Dennis Allen, man, keep doing what you're doing.
I really mean that, because you're actually doing a good job. You know what I'm saying? So keep on doing.
All right. Hey, and I wanted to tell you, TJ, you had a typo in your last title, right?
Yeah, I saw that, man. I was like, and I appreciate that, because that made me go back and change it.
Hey, so I blame Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen. But you have a good one, TJ, man. Happy Labor Day.
All right, say it to you, man. Yeah, man, I had a little typo. Instead of at the beginning of it, I had instead of Saints, I had Aints. So I was like, okay. And No Cap actually called that out in the comments, which made me go back and take a look at it. I'm like, oh, snap. But yeah, man. But look, I just feel like, Matt, like I said, I just adjust accordingly based on the things that I see. Things ain't going to change. Like, okay, I felt like when they were in 7 and 10, I was like, okay, maybe Mickey Loomis realizes that maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe we just need to go ahead and bail out on this thing. that's why I was like hypercritical of like the whole Dennis Allen thing, because I was like, man, they got to see this dude is not the answer. But seeing the way that they roll and how I think feel like sometimes they like in this echo chamber where they just aren't really paying that much attention to the pulse of the fan base and what they're feeling at that time. I was like, man, this dude gonna try to ride this thing out. I don't know if it's like a Belichick Brady thing where you're trying to show that you can actually generate success post the guy that a lot of people are saying that was responsible for it. I don't know what it is, man. But at the end of the day, it don't seem like this dude is just going to be quick to get rid of Dennis Allen, no matter what the situation is this season. It will have to take something catastrophic. Seriously, it have to take something catastrophic for them to get rid of this dude. We're going to go to Jordan. Jordan, what's going on?
How you doing, TJ?
I'm doing all right, man. Well, what you got for us?
Well, I got a few things today. So I don't want to be one of those guys that hop on the Spencer Rattler train too fast.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend not to even focus on that. What I'm going to focus on is what we have to do to make this season a success. I don't believe Derek Carr is going to make it through the whole season as the starting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
My only thought process there is we in no man's land. We not good enough to make it to the Super Bowl, but we also not bad enough to have a first round, top 10 draft pick.
Yep.
So
that's facts.
Halfway during the season, depending on what our record is, they could very well move to Spencer to see what they have going into the draft.
Yeah.
With that being said, we could still win this division at 9-8, 10-7. So the Falcons fans that got all this false, I don't even know what to call it, false hope in Kirk Cousins, they are out their damn mind.
Man.
That's number one. Because you literally had the same quarterback from Derek Carr to Kirk Cousins. They not good enough to win a Super Bowl. They might get you to the playoffs.
Man, look, if I'm playing Madden, Derek Carr rating is I don't know what it is. I'm just, if it's an 86, Kirk Cousins is like an 88. Like I don't get it. Like that's my whole point. Like people think that I'm being a homer when I say this. I just don't see what anybody else is seeing. Like the only thing that separates these teams is the confidence of the fan base. Like the Falcon fan base, they got this bravado going right now because they're excited about the names that they see and what the team they done brought in. And then when you look at Saints fans, like they see Saints fans like upset at the coach, upset at the quarterback. So they just like, yeah, we better than y'all. Like what? Like
yeah,
that's like me saying, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you out there shooting the ball or whatever like that, shooting some shots, right? And you like, man, you know, and I'm pretty good at basketball, but I'm like, I don't know if I want to play today, bro. Man, you don't want to play because you know I'm gonna beat you, bro. Like, and I go out there and I just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like playing, but I go out there and just completely like just destroy you. Like, that don't mean nothing. Like, all of this stuff is just talking heads. Like, I had this Falcon fan that I was talking to, Jordan, and this guy was like, he was telling me, like, man, y'all about to fall back down to the face of the earth and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, where's your proof? So he sends me, I guess, like a conversation between him and a Saints fan, and the Saints fan was kind of dejected about the season, talking about he don't believe in his quarterback. And he was like, here's my proof. Like, what? Like, so what? You know what I'm saying? That don't mean anything. They haven't played any games. So, I mean, I'm just saying, man, how do you know what your team is going to look like? How do you know your team is just going to be all world? Like, I mean, how many Saints teams have we seen, like, on paper, they look like they were just world beaters? I mean, look at the 2022 New Orleans Saints team when they had Jarvis Landry and Chris Olave and Michael Thomas. You know what I'm saying? You had Jameis out there. People talking about he was going to throw the ball down the field. You had, like, all these different things. Like, we had that same level of excitement going into the 2022 season. And did the Saints make the playoffs? They did not. So all I'm saying is, like, you don't know what these teams are going to do until they actually play. So I can't get upset about something I haven't seen, Jordan.
Right. Let me talk about Dennis Allen. So over this offseason, he has done things that make winning football. Prime example, a lot of people, they look at offense and defense, but one of the main problems of New Orleans was the special teams. If you take a bad special teams on that field and you go on the road, that will lose you the game. Our punter, not an NFL punter, they got rid of him. I didn't like that they kept Groupie because to me he's shaking in his boots when it's time to go kick a game-winning field goal. But they at least they addressed special teams. Now Dennis Allen, he takes 2 steps up and then he comes and takes 2 steps back.
Right.
Why are you not naming a quarterback 2 that's taking 2 steps back? Now you having me feeling like you taking the ship and you commanding it just to say, well, I don't know. And we all know why it is, because you're not trying to have a quarterback 1 controversy or anything. When we all see that's where the ship is sailing, regardless of what happens with the Saints this year.
Yeah.
Derek Carr is not your long-term option. You're going to have to find out what you have with Spencer regardless. So you might as well name him a quarterback 2.
Yeah.
Now, regardless of who was starting week 1, out of the first 6 weeks, 5 of those weeks, we walking on the field with the other team having a better quarterback. Let's just call it what it is. So now what you have to do is, if you're going with Derek Carr, put Derek Carr in a situation to be successful. What that look like?
And that's what they did, Jordan. You know, like here's the thing. When Derek Carr first came to New Orleans, the Saints looked at him as if he was Drew Brees. They signed him. They implemented this West Coast offense that made it like it. The offense that the Saints ran all those years was dependent on the success of Drew Brees. When Derek Carr got there, they felt like he would be able to do the same thing, but they didn't realize that this dude needs a supporting cast. And I'm telling people, like, Jordan, there's nothing wrong with that, man. See, we've become like systematically programmed to believe if our quarterback doesn't look like that, then that means that our team won't be successful. But there are so many different ways that you can win football games. Everybody's not going to be Mahomes. Everybody's not going to be Burrow or Josh Allen that's going to win the game for the team despite the situation that they're in. You have guys like, you know, for every Patrick Mahomes, you got Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is probably the most average quarterback that you're ever going to find. But guess what? George Kittle is not average. Debo Samuel is not average. Christian McCaffrey is not average. Brandon Ayuk is not average. So you align him with a bunch of supporting cast members, and you take the ball out of his hand and you make him throw the ball if necessary, right? You kind of allow your playmakers to make them plays. And I just feel like what the Saints are doing with bringing in Clint Kubiak, Jordan, bringing him in, allowing the running game to support Derek Carr, to set up the play action, which he thrives in, it makes him successful. It's the same thing that happened with the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry was the bell cow back. He was the straw that stirs the drink. Ryan Tannehill, when Derrick started to get hot, play action this joint down the field and throw it down the field to whoever receiver that's open. That's what it was. And they went to the divisional round, the AFC Championship game, using that same level of philosophy. So I don't understand like why everybody just feel like if you don't have a Mahomes on your team or a Josh Allen or a Burrow, that you can't win nothing. It doesn't make any sense, man. Like we are upset because we don't have the splash and pizzazz anymore, and we not like beating on our chest because our offense isn't in the top 3. Miss me with that, man. You still can win football games running the football, setting up the play action, and playing sound defense, man. It's not old and passé, and it's not old-fashioned. You can win football games in a multifaceted of ways. I don't understand why 400 yards and 4 touchdowns got to be, is a deal breaker for a lot of these fans. I just don't understand it.
Well, it shouldn't be, right? So the problem with the Saints is our personnel is saying do one thing, but the coach is saying we're going to do another thing. What I mean by that is we don't have 1,000-yard rusher on our team. So we can't approach the game like the Tennessee Titans approached the game when they had Derrick Henry. We can't have that approach. Do we need to run the ball? Yes. Our quarterback is not equipped to throw the ball around the field 40, 50 times a game.
Right.
So what we do is you got Chris Olave, you got Shaheed, you got Alvin Kamara, you got all these skill position players get the ball in space, whether that's a jailbreak screen, regular screens, they call them pick plays, even though technically you're not supposed to call them that. Scheme them open. Let them get in space. You
Right.
don't have to throw the ball 60 yards down the field to have a successful play.
Right. I agree.
Sometimes your passing game got to be an extension of your running game. Handing the ball to Alvin Kamara 300 times in a season is not a successful plan because he's not a 1,000-yard rusher. He's just not. He's never rushed for 1,000 yards in his career.
But has he never rushed for 1,000 yards because of the offensive structure or the fact that he's not capable? I think he's capable. I think he's capable of doing it, and I think he can in this type of system here, Jordan. Like, here's the thing, and I'm glad that you brought this up because this is something I feel like Saints fans need to understand too. We got to completely remove ourselves from this Sean Payton, Drew Brees philosophy and embrace the now, which is a Clint Kubiak type offense. With the offense of this wide zone, the offense is basically designed to cover up the imperfections of offensive line play and quarterback play. That's the reason why, a person like Trevor Penning probably will look decent in an offense like this. Because you're not asking him to do too much in a pass protection game. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of motion and a lot of moving parts. And also we have to take into account too, look at a guy like Christian McCaffrey. Look at Christian McCaffrey for the Carolina Panthers. When they were kind of on that downward spiral and he had these injuries and everybody just automatically just assumed like, man, he ain't never going to be a 1,000-yard rusher again. He damaged goods. He goes out to San Francisco and just completely resurrects his career and is looked at as one of the best running backs in football. I believe that scheme matters. I believe that putting players in the right position to succeed, Jordan, that stuff matters. Like, I know sometimes we think that players can be able to overcome like certain situations like the coaching, but when you're at a dependent position like the running back, dependent position like the wide receiver, if the coordinator isn't calling the right plays that actually fit your skill set or put you in the right position to succeed, you are going to look like slow, even though you're not slow. And then you will go to another team, and then the next thing you know, you're a bona fide certified beast. Another example, look at C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He was decent in the Saints secondary. He goes to the Philadelphia Eagles where they had him roaming across the sidelines, and this guy tied in for the NFL for interceptions. How many interceptions did he catch as a member of the Saints?
Maybe 2.
Yeah, exactly. And he had 6 that year. So all I'm saying is putting players in certain positions to succeed. That, like, I don't want people to feel like that's a lost art because it's not. A lot of times these coaches, we don't want to have this conversation. Sometimes these coaches are not putting these players in the right position to succeed. And then we get on these message boards and be talking about what's going on with these players. No, we need to be asking a question, what the hell is going on with these coaches? I feel like Clint Kubiak will bring out the best in Alvin Kamara because he was going to scheme for Alvin Kamara's strengths. He's going to scheme for that, and Alvin Kamara is going to find success along with these other running backs. Like, I ain't seen Jamal Williams run the way he ran in preseason since he came to the Saints. I forgot this dude can actually run. So that's my thing, man. Like, I'm just looking at this team, man, and I'm just thinking like a lot of what was going on with this team offensively had a lot to do with the fact that they had an old-fashioned offense and they had a guy that they thought was Breeze and he was not. Right. You got anything else, Jordan?
One more thing. Hey, something to be optimistic about. If I'm a Saints fan right now, I'm putting my money on Chase Young winning Defensive Player of the Year. He is going to be special this year.
Yeah.
The Saints defense will be top 10 this year. So watch out for that. If the Saints get the 10 wins, have your money on Chase Young to have 18 sacks this year. Because that man was moving out there, and I want y'all to notice he won a contract, and he only 24 years old.
Yep. That's my thing. And if he out there just wrecking shop at week 5, like, you do not let this dude get out the door. But Jordan, thank you so much, man. I appreciate the call, man.
All right, I appreciate you.
All right, take care. Yeah, Jordan has some good points, man. Look, but I honestly feel like Alvin Kamara in the right situation can rush for 1,000 yards. I think he can. I like, but why would you want him to? I don't know. Like, especially like he can catch the ball out of the backfield and do some different things. And I got a feeling that Alvin Kamara gonna throw a pass this season because he's been lobbying for it for the last 3 years. He's been lobbying for it for the last 3 years, man. Let me read some of y'all comments. Thank y'all for being here. I really do appreciate it. She nice. If you want to call back, please do. Kamara is a receiving back also, so he's doing both. Yeah, I think that, you know, when it comes to him rushing for 1,000 yards, you got a supporting cast. Like Chris McCaffrey, like he ain't really have nobody else behind him. So he was the is all and a be all. And now, you know, like, you know, the backup running back for the 49ers, Elijah, you know, he's not going to even be out there. He's out for the season. So somebody else is going to have to pick up the slack. You must be new here because everybody knows I know my ish. Yeah, Pammy, you know your stuff. We are 5 days away from Sunday. KC started in 4 playoff games and DC 1 playoff game, and the Falcons are delusional. Yeah, look, all I know is here's the reality, man. You gotta play. You gotta play the games. You gotta play the games, folks. I don't know. Like, people want me to feel bad and say, "Oh man, it's over." Like, if I get proven that it's over, then I ain't got no choice but to fall in line. But I just don't. I want to say this too. Like, I want people to fully understand this. All right. These teams are telling you that the Saints are just going to fall off the face of the earth, right? The last time the Saints played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like, it wasn't even close, right? The Saints dominated that game in Raymond James. And the Falcons, like, they basically had the same team that they had last year, for the exception of, 2 guys on their defense that's going to make a significant impact. And they got beat 48-17. So all I'm saying is, like, how can you sit up here and just say, like, oh, they're just gonna fall off the face of the earth? Like, so that means, like, to me, if the Saints improve in any type of department, then they should be better and put forward a better effort than they did last season. So if they putting forward that effort and it's better than it was last season, why can't the Saints split with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Why can't the Saints split with the Falcons? Why can't they, you know, possibly sweep the Carolina Panthers or go, you know what I'm saying, a split with them? Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Like, it's not like we bringing out Steve DeBerg out there on the field and, you know what I'm saying, you got, you know, I don't know, man, just the most mediocre team that you ever seen, man. This team got some talent. They got some talent on this team, man. So, and if we're talking about the AFC North, then guess what? Y'all know I'll be on here, man. Yeah, bro, it ain't looking too good for us. We're not talking about the AFC North. We're not talking about some of these dominant divisions that are out there where every team has double-digit wins, and one of these double-digit win teams not gonna make the postseason. We're not talking about that. We talk about a trash can division that is the NFC South. I'm sorry, it is the truth. A bunch of teams that trying to figure it out, that play some really bad football and probably wouldn't even have a playoff spot if they didn't play in the same division together. So with that in mind, I don't see no Super Bowl champions out of none of these teams in the division. That includes the Saints. So my question is, why can't the Saints win this division? Why can't they? 18.5 sacks in this season high, 7.5. That's a tall task. Plus other things factor in. Yeah, I mean, I think he can get double-digit sacks. If he get 18, then the Saints winning, they definitely win the division. If he get 18 sacks, they definitely win in the division. Carr will suck, LOL, because he knows his pressure. We lose our first 5 behind poor play. The man can't score. Well, I don't know. Like I said, he has issues in the red zone. I mean, they're historically documented. I don't know what this season is going to look like. I just hope that they play better. I hope that this offense improve and they do some things that can actually put them in a position to win. I don't understand fans that want AK gone or saying he's washed his game, suffered because of shoddy O-line play and Stinky P taking him out of the game at crucial times in games. Pay the man. Yeah, look, I think that coordinators matter. I think that putting guys in a position to succeed, it matters. And I can just think back to when Alvin Kamara first got with the New Orleans Saints. And I remember, like, you know, everybody was so excited about him because they played against the Chargers at the time, and he had that big 76-yard touchdown run. And everybody was like, man, we got something special in this Kamara kid. And then all of a sudden, like the first couple of weeks, he was a non-factor. I think it had a lot to do with the fact that Adrian Peterson was on the team and Sean was trying to make everybody happy at that particular time. And of course, we know about Adrian Peterson giving Sean Payton that look on the sidelines. But, you know, long story short, Sean Payton went to a press conference and they was asking him about Alvin Kamara. And he said, that's on me. He said, this is a special kid. I got to get him the ball in his hands. And then the next week, I think the Saints played the Detroit Lions, and the rest is history, right? That's because he started scheming and started focusing in on the strengths of AK. And when he started focusing on the strengths of AK became the offensive rookie of the year. AK became one of the best running backs in football. So all I'm saying is schemes matter. Coaches taking the time, burning the midnight oil to find ways for their playmakers to make plays. That's not just passe anymore, folks. I get it. Everybody wants that big star running back. Everybody wants that guy that's going to rise above the coaching, rise above the circumstance. But it doesn't always work like that. The Saints, in my opinion, offensively, has let a lot of these players down. They have let down the Olaves. They damn sure let down the Shaheeds. The Shaheed should at least have about 7-8 targets per game. Like when he showed you on that jet sweep against the Bengals that, hey, this dude on his first carry in the NFL scored a touchdown. And think about this. Why are we thinking about it? This dude scored on the very first play on a jet sweep, right? And he didn't touch the ball no more for the rest of that game. Think about that. So this is what you're trying to tell me. You're telling me that a team that would do something like that, when you're losing, you're going to do something like that. And then, you know, you expect to generate some levels of success. Jimmy Graham, red zone threat. Every time he touched the ball in the red zone, he scored. And you couldn't find a place to put Jimmy Graham on the field in a red zone situation, 50-50 ball on the line, and you struggling in the red zone, but you rather go out there and try to make it work with Foster Moreau. No disrespect to him, but Foster Moreau is not a better red zone threat than Jimmy Graham was. This team did not make the necessary adjustments to put themselves in a position to succeed. And we are completely becoming oblivious to this fact because we are so upset about the way this team is constructed from the higher ups to the head coach. Like, don't let that distract you from the fact that the offense, Pete Carmichael being the offensive coordinator, failed this football team. They failed them. They didn't put these dudes in the right position to succeed. So all I'm saying is, man, like, this is a different offense. This is the offense. This is what we've been asking for. We asked for innovative offenses. We asked for movement. We asked for motion. We asked for all these different things. We asked for the playmakers to get the ball in their hands. Now they bring in a coach that can actually get that thing done. Let's see what it look like. If it don't look like the part, then it doesn't look like the part. Then adjust accordingly. But we can't ask for certain things and then all of a sudden they give it to us and it still ain't good enough. You say you wanted a steak medium well, I give you a steak medium well. And you still up here talking about how the steak don't taste well, right? I cooked it to your liking. So that's all I'm saying, folks. Like, you ask for a change. You ask for a change. You ask for a change on offense. You ask for a change on defense. They got all different coaches. None of them are Sean Payton layover still around. And we still finding ways to say that this team is going to fail. Why? Like, why? Like, you don't have any proof. You can look at Dennis Allen and he don't, give you that rah-rah feeling. I get all that. But it's hard, like it's hard for me to sit up here today and be mad about something I ain't seen. I can't spend money I ain't got. I can't. Now, when it happens, but I can't spend money that I ain't got. I can't get mad and overreact about a situation I have not seen. I can give you my prediction, I can give you my thoughts and my feelings, but it ain't no guarantee that I'm gonna be right. You know, like I said, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just rather reserve my judgment till all the facts come out, especially when I know that it ain't gonna change. It's not gonna change. Like you're asking Mickey Loomis, the vice president of the New Orleans Saints and general manager, so he answers to himself to see the light. That's what you're asking, man. You're asking him to come to that conclusion that Dennis Allen isn't the answer. He can drag his feet as long as he wants to. Who that nation? And we can say whatever we want to say. We can go into these message boards. These dudes don't have no X. These dudes ain't got no social media. Does Dennis Allen have social media? I doubt it. Does Mickey Loomis have one? If he does, it's probably controlled by his personal assistant. Man, these dudes don't care about that. These guys live in an echo chamber for the most part. And you have to hope that they make the right decisions living in that echo chamber. But, you know, Smitty too cool 0278. They need to fire DA. That ain't moving nobody. It's not. It's not, man. You know, Smitty 0278. I mean, he might be speaking profoundly. He might be a card-carrying member of the Who Dat Nation, been carrying that card so long. Y'all never had like one of those, you know, old Social Security cards that been in your wallet for a long period of time. It's all crumbled up and stuff like that because it had been through the rain, the storms, and all that other stuff. You know, you probably have your card your card for the Who Dat Nation might have some battle scars on that joint. But guess what? That ain't gonna move them at all. You know, it's not. You got some organizations that read the pulse of the people. For example, I gotta say it, the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons and their fan base got Arthur Smith out of town. The outrage from their fan base got him out of town. That's because Arthur Smith was not a good coach. Arthur Blank paid attention to that and like, you know what, man, let's go ahead and get him up out of here. So all I'm saying is you don't have that luxury, folks. You don't have that luxury. This man sitting up here chewing gum at a press conference when he knows that more than likely there are going to be some tough, critical, like answers that need to be had, that and questions that's going to be had that's going to be asked by the media. And this man just sitting up here like, you know, like he bulletproof, because he is. So why is it that, you know, Timothy J. Jones, TJ ain't up here just sitting up here just, man, we need to just do this? Because it ain't going to change until Mickey Loomis actually comes to the conclusion that it's going to change. So we have to hope that this dude just makes the right decision, or if the season goes awry, that he let go of Dennis Allen. Thank you, TJ. People get upset when I say it, so listen to the host. So just disregard what we saw in the preseason, other than the one drive from the starters. Practices just don't sound too mind-blowing from starting old either. Now, I ain't saying like disregard what you saying, but bruh, just like this is what I'm saying. You're gonna be at practice and they can have Nick Underhill. Nick Underhill can tweet, man, wide open pass. Chris Olave drops it. Man, Chris Olave, man, why we waste a draft pick on? He ain't really no number one like I thought he was. Dude just dropped the pass. Like it happens, man. Like that's the emotion. Like that's what I'm talking about. It don't always necessarily tell a story. It don't always guarantee that it's going to end up the way that it is. I ain't saying not listen to the reports. I'm not saying that the offensive line, ain't looking like much, because it's not. But all I'm saying is this offensive line was terrible last year. And, if they terrible this year, they still found a way to win football games last year. So I think they can find a way to win football games this year, especially with a new offensive coordinator and an offense that kind of caters to offensive linemen that are kind of wishy-washy, frost and flaky. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I'm not saying disregard what they're saying, but I'm just saying, like, don't let that just dictate your emotion. You ain't seen a game. And if you're going to look up here, if you're going to sit up here and say, okay, let's just look at these drives. Let's look at that 96-yard drive that they drove down the field. So we just going to disregard that because it was successful? I mean, so when somebody says that a person is incapable of doing something, that means you can do this 10 out of 10 times, that person will not be able to do it. But if I've seen it actually being done, I know that there's a possibility that it can get done. So I can't base I want to see the games. I want to see the games. I ain't worried about no practice. I ain't worried about none of that. I want to see the games. I want to see how this team is going to come together. I want to see how they can actually build this joint up. That is what I want to see, Who Dat Nation. And if we look at this team and they stumbling down the stretch and they losing to Carolina, and then they get slapped around by Dallas, and then they lose to Philadelphia, then look, I'm on board with you. Hey, man, we're in some trouble right now. But it's hard for me to sit up here and say it. Why? Because I want to be ahead of the curve. I want to beat on my chest around week 5 and say, yeah, I sure did say that. I knew it was coming. Okay. But it's hard for me to sit up here and just, like I said, based on what I seen out of the South last season, Tampa went 9-8, Saints 9-8, Falcons 7-10, Carolina 2-15. All these teams have made improvements that they felt were necessary in order for them to make a run in 2024. So why is it that these teams, they got something to believe in and they're excited about their team in 2024 because they made these corrections, and we've been clamoring and wanting the Saints to come to the 21st century, to the year 2024, 2023, where everybody's using motion and using variations of the wide zone. We finally get that, and now that we got what we wanted, now we about to fall off the face of the earth now. Like, if they went into the season looking bad, winning 4 out of their last 5 games, to say, you know what? Let's bring back Pete Carmichael, because he showed that he can actually win something. He can actually get this offense on board. I can understand people feeling the way that they do. I can. Because as a play caller, I feel like Pete Carmichael is not very good. But we asked for a more modernized offense, and you got it. So now that you got it, you just got to see where it goes from there. And like I said, man, look, none of this stuff that I'm saying is set in stone. I'm not even going to sit up here and just lie to y'all. And I don't care. Like, y'all know me. When I'm wrong, I open up the phone lines. I eat all the crow, everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, I open up the phone lines because my ego ain't that fragile. That's easy, TJ. Just start winning. Winning solves everything. Exactly. Like, I open up the phone line. TJ, man, you were wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay, man, cool, whatever. You know, it wasn't. I put something out there, thought it worked, it didn't. Like I said, it has nothing to do with the fact that I just think that this team is going to be good. Like, I don't think they're just going to be sitting up here wrecking shop, but I don't think they're going to just look like, we need to go ahead and return the bags on our heads again or something. I feel like it's our culture. We were used to winning for a few years straight, Now we don't know how to act. Mad Drummer, you got a lot of Saints fans that don't understand what it's like to go through any type of adversity and hardship. That's just the reality. Not of you were fans, when Drew Brees became a quarterback, and it's not the fact that you just jumped on the bandwagon. You just didn't know. Like if you're 6, 7, 8 years old, you don't have an appreciation for football, or you probably don't have that level of fandom. Probably got instilled inside of you by a family member or a friend or something like that, right? So a lot of you don't know what you don't know. Like I used the example a few shows back. It's like me drinking from a water fountain, at a public establishment at the library or something like that. And I'm just drinking water, drinking, keep it moving. Well, my grandparents who grew up during, in the Jim Crow South in Mississippi, when they drank from a water fountain, they probably might roll back to the times where they couldn't do what they just did. So, what I'm saying? Like, so they have an appreciation for it. It's different. You don't know what you don't know, right? We all have these ideas about what this team needs to be, and when people say what they used to be, well, you don't know anything about it. You probably heard it from a family member or a friend or somebody that can tell you about what this team used to be like. So some of you feel like you're going through the nuclear holocaust around this mug right now. And I get it, man. Everybody wants that level of success, like especially when you taste it. And in some cases, you never experience any type of hardship. If you grew up in that nice house, had your own room, had your own privacy, and then all of a sudden your family like, oh, I'm sorry, we going on hard times. We're gonna have to shrink it down a little bit. And then we move into that little single house where you're sharing a room with your sister or your brother. Like, man, what the heck is going on here? Like, man, I used to have space. I used to have my privacy. And you probably do have some type of anger and frustration about the situation. But when you're me and you grew up with two brothers and a sister, and your mom was doing the best you can, you had a 2-bedroom house, and you had 3 sharing a room with your 2 other brothers and your sister in a room with your mom, you have an appreciation for when God blesses you to be able to own your own home and be able to do your job, and do your podcast from your office. And even if, I had to share space and be like, pack some Moody's toys over to the side, like, wouldn't bother me none, but it would bother him, right? Because he's the only child. He don't have to worry about sharing his space with anybody. So, look, I get what people are saying. I get where people are coming from. But all I'm saying is, come on, man, let's woosah a little bit. Let's woosah a little bit. Let's just calm down. Let's see where this season goes. Let's see where it goes, man, before we start just going out here, man, just hot, just hot as fish grease. And, y'all know me, man, because, if it start turning awry, that's when your boy really start cooking. So regardless, we're going to have some good shows this season. Man. But thank y'all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. I really do appreciate it, man. Much love to each and every one of you. I really do appreciate your time. Shouts out to everybody that chimed in. Shouts out to No Cap. Shouts out to Jordan. Shouts out to Kean Arthur. Man, shouts out to you all, man, for actually chiming in. I really do appreciate that. Make sure that you all check out the NFC South Roundtable that will be tonight. It's every Tuesday at 7 p.m. on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and put that link inside of the comments so you all can get it. Just go ahead and subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you can actually see when the show actually takes place. You'll be able to get those notifications. Like I said, it would be me alongside James, Clay, and my guy Smitty, and also Berto, who fills in from time to time, man. Shouts out to my guy Berto. But, we're just talking about NFC South football, man. We do a little trash talking. We try to keep it entertaining, man. So if you haven't checked it out, please do. Please support. And also, you can follow me on X at TJAYJones8. Gumbo Pod Sports Podcast, that's available. We just put up a new episode about Brian Kelly and the LSU Tigers losing their 5th straight season opener. What the heck is going on with that? And I also talked about some of the top games that are going to take place week 1. So make sure you check out that episode of the Gumbo Pod Sports Podcast that is available as well. Thank you all so much. Really do appreciate your time. And like always, all I got to say is Who that?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.